Hello there. Just doing a little bit of light housekeeping, then we'll be up and running for this particular walkthrough. I hope that you're all keeping well. My PC is running a few applications at the same time, and it's not the strongest computer, so hopefully things will be relatively smooth for the stream. And I think that should be about it. Let me quickly just check OBS one more time. Alright, thanks guys. Welcome to this video, welcome to the channel. My name is Will, and in this particular video what I want to do is to sort of continue in a series I've already started regarding Telegram bot programming using C#, .NET C#. But in this particular video, in this stream, what I want to do is to actually explore the latest API version 18.0.0. And let's just get straight into it. I'm gonna go into the basics of how to initialize functionality to interface with the Telegram client using C#, your C# application, which kind of becomes then a sort of a server, kind of like a bot server, depending on what application you want to create. So I might as well go and hop to the NuGet. Excuse me. I'm gonna hop to NuGet just to kind of show you guys the versioning that I'm using. As I said, I'm using version 18, but in previous videos, I've actually been using earlier versions, and there was a time where version 17.1 or 17 was out, and I was like, man, I gotta probably start updating these videos. So if I go to installed here, just gonna wait for NuGet to load up. Just gonna wait for that to happen. I have a few APIs, a few libraries installed, but the one we're kind of interested in are these two. And you're gonna need it if you want to follow through with this tutorial. You're gonna need the telegram.bot API by Raoul Robin Pauled Tuscan. I'm not too sure hopefully I pronounced that okay. And you're gonna also need the Telegram bot extensions polling library. As you can see here for the Telegram bot API, hopefully it's visible, because I know with the streaming quality, it's not always the best that I have right now, but hopefully it's visible enough. You can see I'm using 18.0.0. Before I was on something like 16.0.2 or something like that. I dare say I was on 15.7.1 at the beginning, I'm not too sure, but I've jumped up to 18, so I'm going to walk through on this version, which is the latest as of the recording of this stream. Let's have some fun programming Telegram bots. So let's get straight into this. What I'm going to do first is just demonstrate what's going on. I have my code here, and I've decided to put everything in one class just for the sake of visibility, the sake of simplicity for this walkthrough. What I'll do, I'll launch this without debugging, just for speed. This is going to hopefully be a short video, maybe no more than 20 minutes. Just so I can kind of... because, you know, I've been making videos on the older versions, as I said before. So hopefully this will be a little bit more relevant for those of you who want to stay up to date. And this is just going to kind of get your foot through the door there. If you're kind of confused looking at the API, you're not sure what's going on, hopefully this will shed some light. So I have here a very simple user interface. And before we proceed, just going to get some information here. Let me just quickly go here. It's quite bright, the glares on my screen. It's quite hard to see. I'll just grab that piece of data and I'll go back. So basically, the idea here is that we're going to pass some bot token. This bot token is one of my bots. Doesn't really do anything apart from for my testing and debugging for my apps. Put it in the field. I'm going to click this button, connect to client. Oh, yes. And let's quickly hop to my Telegram session. And just in the nick of time, 11:59, I just got the timestamp here as well. This is a test message from the server. Very basic stuff, you know, got the bot to relay a message onto my Telegram. And so, yeah, let's have a look at how to do this as we've done in previous videos. But now we're going to be observing the version 18.0.0. So it should be a little bit more relevant than some of my previous videos in that respect, hopefully. Okay, so first things first, what you want to do is add your namespaces. I've gone ahead and added using, let me actually zoom in, it's a little bit hard to read properly. Using telegram.bot, telegram.bot.args, and then from that extension polling library, I've got telegram.bot.extensions.polling. So you're going to want those. Now we're going to be dealing with a few, for the sake of simplicity, we're going to be dealing with like anonymous functions. We're going to be passing and encapsulating methods via anonymous functions. So I would suggest, if you want to read up on Lambda expressions, hopefully, I may or may not, if I don't forget, I'll leave a link to all this, but you can find this information on MSDN, which I believe stands for the Microsoft Developer Network. It's got an absurd amount of documentation, and I mean that in a good way, for the breadth and depth of .NET and other technologies. So you can read up on lambdas. I use the action class as well, the action delegate. I'll just read some of the remarks here. So you can use this delegate to pass a method as a parameter without explicitly declaring a custom delegate. We're going to have a little look into that as well. So because looking at these variables, these global fields, just without context may be a little bit confusing, I'm going to go ahead and scroll slowly through them. But what we're going to do is go straight into the constructor. And then as and when I need to reference some of my members, I'm going to reference them respectively. But just as a heads up, I suppose, I have here this action, API response action. And I went ahead and passed, basically this variable encapsulates this API method function. And similarly, this API request action encapsulates this API request function. And this update action variable, which is of an action type delegate, is encapsulating this update chat functionality. So we have that here. It's quite important, these three. And there's some other classes that we're going to need to declare as well. But yeah, let's go through this step by step. So the good news is, all in all, to get started, you don't need much more than what? This is just less than 300 lines of code, which can be even less depending on how you write your code. So if we start at I said start at the constructor. Actually, constructor doesn't do much because that button I clicked at the start of when I booted up the UI actually calls this function, establish bot connection. So what you want to do is you want to call this class from the Telegram bot extensions library. Oops, I just right clicked there. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Receiver options. You want to instantiate this. And you want to set allowed updates. So indicates which Telegram bot types enum update types are allowed to be received. In case of no, the previous settings will be used. I just went ahead and just instantiated it, kind of box standard. Scrolling down, next thing you want to do is you want to construct this class update type. And then you want to assign update type. Let's have a look here. The variable which is of update type here. I've instantiated it here, update type.message. So I've just picked from this enumerated list message. The Telegram bot types update contains a Telegram bot.types message. And then I have options here, which I already constructed from, it's basically a declaration which I instantiated for this receiver options class. And I've gone ahead and accessed this allowed updates property. and I've assigned, I've made an assignment to update type. So as you can see, you need to first set up update type so that you pass its value to this allowed updates property. So again, I'm just brisking through this at a high level just to get you guys started as soon as you can, and then all the deeper exploration you can do with your own time. Establishes a connection to the client, such as the following code. So I have here update request, and let's go to its definition, just so we know what we're doing. So you want to declare a private static Telegram bot, Telegram bot client, that's an interface, and you want to give it some variable declaration, which I've called update request. And this is kind of the backbone of most of the functionality we'll be dealing with regards to interfacing via our Telegram bot class API. Where was I? Here, establish the connection to the client. So you want to get that construction of that class. You want to instantiate it. So you want to instantiate Telegram bot client, and you want to pass in the bot token, and you want to pass in the HTTP client object. So I have my bot token, which basically gets passed via the parameter of which is when this function is invoked. It demands a parameter, a string, which is the bot token, which I get from the password field box you may remember from the user interface. That's the way I've done it. Now I've already gone ahead and instantiated these delegates, so I didn't need to instantiate this at the top. So for example, here I have API response action, which is encapsulating API update function, and such and so forth. I did that here, so you don't need to do it twice. So that, again, a way to save lines of code, but just for the sake of a bit of clarity, I guess. Here we have API response action, which is a static action. The action class, which you can read up a little bit about how action classes work in MSDN. And this API response action action delegate is encapsulating this API update function, which takes as a parameter update request, which update request is an Telegram bot client. So it's an interface class, and then you do the same for the respective for the other respective functions. I mean, so I have API update, API request, and update chat. Let's have a quick look at what these functions actually are. So API update, you see here place logic here. It's just a comment. And I have here Telegram bot client, so I access the parameter, and from this parameter, the Telegram bot client interface, this is quite handy. I can actually access a function that allows me to send text messages via the client, and it's called send text message async. So you fill out the overloads. So I have a reference to the chat update, to the chat rather, via this update class. And then from that, I can access the ID. So I can access the ID of the chat that I'm interested in. And again, as you go deeper into this kind of technology, you can filter out different IDs. You can have separate IDs. You can make sure you're not clashing different messages with different users. There's so much you can do. But in this case, it's very simple. I've got the ID, which was my particular chat with my bots. And if you can recall, I'll have it back on the screen. This is a test message from the server, ! If I can go back to I actually close the tab, it's fine. But if you remember, I had the message from the bot, which was exactly this at 11:59. This is a test message from the server, ! And you can set the rest to null and default. Unless if you want to fill out the rest of the overloads. I have API request, which doesn't have any logic here for now. We're not going too deep into things. Update chat. For now, the update chat just does the same thing. I try to... the way I structured this is that from my understanding, when the chat has been updated, then something will happen. And that something here is very simple. It's just the text message is sent. So I haven't gotten too deep, too vertical into this example. But again, it's just a high level example. On making API request, let's have a little look at this. So I have a using statement, and I'm invoking a task class. I'm instantiating it, and I'm passing the API response action, which I believe is variable which is encapsulating a particular function, if I'm not mistaken, the API update function. I'll just go back. Now this is where I was kind of experimenting a little bit, so this may or may not be relevant right now, but you can have a little look as to what I'm doing here, as to not make things too complicated. The main thing is the instantiation that we have in the establish bot connection part. But if you want to follow through, this is the code that I came up with. On API response received. So anything to do with the API, when there's been a request, the response to the received request, if I'm not mistaken, there. So again, this is kind of placeholdery kind of code. It doesn't do anything very comprehensive right now. And of course you want error checking and stuff. So I have a safeguard, I guess I could say, in that respect, but it has no functionality. But the functionality is ready when it's ready. And then I have update received. Again, this is all kind of placeholder stuff. But feel free to follow through with this. I will actually update my website, ldnstudioig.com, in the courses section with this class, with this information. So if you want to see how I've done this in a written article format, I will, after the stream, update my website. So do look out for that, and I will leave links on this video's description. Sometimes it's just easier to kind of look at things straight up, right? And this, of course, when I click the connect button on the UI, it invokes establish bot connection. So that's that. So very, very simple stuff right now on the surface. So we're back here. Update handler. You want to assign the update handler, which if I have a look here, let's go to its declaration, to its definition. It's basically a Telegram bot extensions polling default update handler class. And that's its declaration, which it doesn't seem I'm actually using it right now, but it's always good to kind of set these things up ahead of time. Chat update. This is quite an important class. It allows you to access members pertaining to the respective chats that the bots are interacting with on the Telegram client side of things. So I've gone ahead and instantiated that chat update as assigned new Telegram bot types update. So this one is actually quite important. You don't want to skip that one. Message update IEnum. Again, I don't think I'm particularly using this to any meaningful degree right now in this example. If we do scroll down, two important methods: start receiving and get updates async, which are both accessed from the update request. I think, yeah, the update request member, which if I go to its declaration, it is from the iTelegram bot client class. And again, this comes up, the message update IEnum. But again, I'm not really doing anything here, because the thing is, the idea is that because we're using a polling strategy in order to pull updates from the server, it's a more involved process than the old sort of like webhooky kind of style way of doing things. I found with the older version of the API, although I do think webhooks may be supported still. It just means basically it's more involved. We have to query the state of our of the Telegram client in order to see what has been changed and what has been updated. Then we can process thereof the information that is relevant to what we want to do on the server side of things. So you want to make sure you're calling start receiving to actually start receiving updates, and get updates async. I would suggest you invoke this function as well. This doesn't, I don't think this is doing anything right now. Update has 0 references, but I had it here just for experimentation. And believe it or not, that kind of brings us to the end of this very short primer. So just to wrap things up, I'm a little scared to press out the XAML tab because it might take a while, but it'll be fine. And the designer has to be reloaded, so let's not waste time. So you want a user interface. If you're building a server for a Telegram bot to process any kind of information with Telegram bots, you'll need I was gonna say hopefully you'll need, but it depends on the need, right? You could be using a very simple kind of like command line interface UI. I chose to use UWP because it's what I'm quite used to at this point in time, and you can make kind of nice looking UI as well if you know how to use the XAML. Excuse me. Then you want to construct your class which deals with all the functionality of connecting to the Telegram client. I'm utilizing the use of anonymous functionality. I'm encapsulating these functions in these variables, and I'm using them, if I'm not mistaken, to access the functionality of these functions. Again, you can read up on like actions, delegates, and anonymous functions on MSDN, because it will probably add another layer of explanation if I were to go through things like that in this particular video, which I want to keep as short as possible. And yeah, then you just establish your connection to the client, which here is it's about, let's see how many lines of code, from 150 to like 183. So it's not that many lines of code. 6, 7, 8. It's like 33 lines of code. It could be less, because there are some things are not really needed here, to be honest. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And I hope this at least sheds a little bit of light into how you can use the latest version of the API, 18.0.0 of the Telegram bot API, using CSharp.net to initialize a server. In later videos, what I want to do is go a little bit more deeper. So just as in my other videos, maybe I can show them up. Where am I? If I quickly go to, not this tab. I think I closed it. Anyway, it's on my channel. I have older videos of setting up chat flow and how to accept payments on Telegram. I may be doing all of that kind of good stuff, but using the later version API so that the information can remain relevant. So I hope you found this video somewhat informative, if not educational, / entertaining. I don't know if I have the tab up here. Oh my goodness, let's have a quick look. I do indeed, actually. Just wait for that. I'm actually offering mentorship for C# programming for junior, beginner, and student level developers. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link, if not already, to my Fiverr, which should be in the link to the stream / video. Once it's finished streaming, it'll become a video. I might as well show you what else I'm doing. I have other gigs here if you're interested. Shameless plug, I know. Oh, goodness me. So, you know, different gigs I'm offering: Telegram bot customization, general PC app development, and 2D games development, and of course mentoring in C#. If you just need that extra bit of guidance to help you in your journey so you can get to where you want faster, do reach out to me on my Fiverr handle. And with that, I'm going to close the stream. I thank you all very much for watching. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys making these videos, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.